Well, I don't know. I may make this general and I may make this specific to certain people out there. 10:54 in the afternoon, or coming up in the afternoon. It's April 18th, 2025 for Good Friday of those worshiping in Christianity. We were Genesee, Roseman, California. That tagline being out there. I have an issue concerning about how holidays are being celebrated, including the religious holidays, as I'm not hip on a lot of other holidays and other beliefs. I should be. I mean, it'd be nice if I can get hip on those. So at least I keep that in mind. In this particular season, we're dealing with Passover and we're dealing with Easter. Um, a religious icon that passed away a few days later came back just to show that resurrection is possible. Resurrection of the body and spirit, according to the holy texts. But it's how we've been celebrating the holiday season for all this time with our little traditions, including one where this one person was born. And then we see some. Hang on. I'm going to put this on pause for right now. This is what I'm doing right now as it is. I figured she needed the embarrassment. She's been fussing for my attention like crazy. Much like the holiday season and the traditions that we deal with on a constant basis, how they affect us one way or another. I only go by experiences, what I've heard, anecdotal stuff, rituals observed, people griping and grumbling about other things. What else is this? What we talk about anyway? Gossip. But gossip, if you're going to be ringing out stories to embarrass other people. Me, I'm just trying to make focus on stuff that's happening that actually has relevance. When you have clergy asking why we have this and how come it doesn't feel right to them, I would ask them, you guys already know so much about the urban myths and legends, hopefully, and you've also studied up about why we have Easter eggs, baskets, candy, bunny, and somehow subjugate the holiday as not important. It's much like saying that Christmas is not important unless we pile it on with other things. It's like dealing with, you want to equate it with food. Unleavened bread, matzah. We have matzo ball soup with chicken stuck. We can put chicken in it, or just have the matzah. Have the dough with the matzah, you know, with the liquid. We have lamb. Man, I don't get lamb. I don't do lamb for Passover because I haven't had a traditional Seder meal for Passover. It's whatever I can scrounge up to have something of it. Usually not kosher. But if I'm going to have Christmas, I have to have decorations up to celebrate a holiday season. It's much like trying to celebrate a birthday. And I guess some people actually have a problem with that. You're celebrating a birthday with a lot of decorations. Either they're happy about it or they're going to be miserable and saying, what the hell are you doing to my holiday here? This is my day. Why am I celebrating it with all this garb? And the thing is, we deal with traditions. We grow up with them in our families, in our lives. We're surrounded by it. And they call it paganism. I'm trying to hold true to what Christmas meant to me a long time ago, as it meant something special to me. I also hold on to something special about the Easter holiday, because it also meant something to me. I had happy memories of both. I didn't exactly have a miserable memory of them, except if you happen to screw up a Christmas holiday and don't decorate the tree in time, and then you get to suffer a mother's wrath until next year. And my brother and I did that once for Christmas. Never Easter. We always had to make sure that we had some Easter. We always had Easter eggs made, which meant we'd get a dozen of eggs. We get dye. We get vinegar. We get a crayon. wax crayon, and we have fun with it. You know, their ratios, what the box tells you. Have a place for the eggs to dry off on, drip dry. It's some things we do to celebrate a holiday season. It's something that we want to show people that this means something to us. Easter eggs were supposed to have been representing, yes, in certain pagan religions, the coming of spring, resurrection, beginning of life. We celebrate in Easter a resurrection of life. So there's an association right there. Chocolate eggs are just a fun way. Maybe, chocolate eggs. Okay, what's the chocolate stand for? Sweet, chocolatey, tastes good, adds calories, but tastes good anyway. Grass. Well, we have the artificial grass. Keeps around for all long. Can't dig up regular grass out here in the desert, so you get reusable grass. Get a basket. Basket holds things. Basket is time of season. Holds things in it. Meaning. Okay. Well, what about the meaning of the religion itself, or of the faith? I guess that's what stumps a lot of people in that one. Yeah, unfortunately, I put up a picture, an artistic impression. I may terrify heaven on that one, but it's representing to me that this is about Jesus, not about anything else but his resurrection. So if I happen to use eggs, plastic or regular, to represent resurrection of sorts, then it's a symbolic thing. I don't have the meal of Passover here. I have ham and potato salad, a family tradition to celebrate this season. Probably tomorrow I'll get more potato salad. Fresher stuff anyway. Or try to make the stuff myself. I have ingredients for that. I'll do the store-bought. Easier. But I already have the store-bought ham still refrigerating. And I want it kept that way until I'm ready to use it. Usually I'm eating that stuff on Easter Day. I'll be probably picking on this thing tomorrow. But it'll be enough ham for me to do it. There are a few recipes I can use out of it. There are a few things I can deal with. Ham and potato salad is one thing, but ham and eggs and fried potatoes and onions, I can do that. I can do that. I can choose to do that. I can choose to celebrate Easter that way. Early in the morning, if I get up early enough, maybe around 4 or 5 o'clock, and I could stay up and watch the sunrise and start taking pictures of it. Do a video. Post it out there. Getting back to the Christmas holiday, in a manger there were presents given. There were no trees, no lights, no flashing things, just animals and people. And a baby in a manger. Simple manger. I'm reminded of that. I'm reminded of a birth. I'm also reminded of a death and a resurrection. And in the Christmas holiday, I'm represented as, in a winter holiday, or in a winter season, it's like things close down for the night. And something happens during that time. Something worthwhile. And yes, our families have a lot of traditions for the winter and spring. Spring comes after winter. Would it have been easier for us to understand if we actually had, somehow Christmas was made around the 25th because of a imperial decree of some sort, or a religious decree on that one. So it's 25th of December. It doesn't matter which day it falls under, as long as the calendar reflects that. And what about us here, mere mortals, celebrating our traditions? Centuries later, we're still trying to get hip with it. It was never made into federal or nationalized or international holidays, except maybe indirectly. Some religions don't, actually, some sects of Protestant don't believe in the Easter traditions just as they are. That's okay. I'm not going to hold it against them. My own way of understanding Easter is not being supplanted of how important the holiday season is, like everyone else kept saying about Christmas. When I have family traditions and family values in the thing, I associate a lot with it. And Christmas time, Christmas shopping of gathering gifts, wrapping them, and using them as surprises. I have a tree to put the stuff under, with a star or an angel on top of it. Here I am trying to find justification for it. I have people around me that I celebrate with to make the holiday meaningful. Because in the time as I have been taught in churches and in ministries, there were people, there were animals. Well, I had dogs. And in that we had a star above, floating above for a time. And that meant something. Reason why we put stars and angels on a tree. To have it mean something. And I had done that for a long while. I've had trees like that. Stars and angels. And decorated. Decorations frivolous and of folly. It's frivolous. It's something, but it's pretty. Does it take away the meaning of a birth of a holiday? Does it take away a birth of a person that's going to be transforming lives left and right throughout history to current, and then subjugated to a hell of a lot of criticism, not to mention different viewpoints? And I look at the holiday as something of a bastardized situation to worship God. People want to weaponize Christian. They want to weaponize Christianity. They want to weaponize a belief in a person who didn't come to harm. He came to heal, to teach, to make us teachable, to make us followers, to show demonstrations of what human compassion and empathy is all about. We celebrate the life and death in holiday fashions. We make things up to make the holiday, to make the day more meaningful to us, even if it has to be generalized. But some people actually individualize it. If we happen to believe in Easter eggs and grass and baskets, fine. It's like, what do you deal with these stockings full of fruit, nuts, food, presents that are hung by a tree? To me, it's still hidden gifts of a birthday. But we don't do that for Christmas. No. We have a basket laid out already with the gifts in it. Of renewal, of messages, maybe hope. Here I am trying to defend the practice. I don't condemn it because I've been going through the practice a lot throughout my life. But it gets harder when portions of it disappear. I'm not just talking about egg prices going up, and I'm talking about cane prices going up, or unavailability of that kind of material, even the grass or the baskets. One would have to improvise. A colander works just as well. Works just as well as a basket, woven. Stuffed animal in there would work a little bit. Or an Easter bunny. I don't know why they use the bunny. It could just be the eggs and the candy and the grass and the plate. That works. Doesn't have to be a basket. But what made it special for me is having family, along with the family traditions, that made the holiday it is. But also remind me why the holiday was important, but why the meaning of it was still important. I'm a walking representation of both my fears, phobias, and a blessing from above. I've got the scars to prove it, that I died and came back to life. I'm scared as hell of the transition because as a kid I wanted to go back home, but I wasn't. I was scared and also pissed off when I came back home. And couldn't even talk to anybody about it as much because they didn't have a perspective or context. Neither could I. How's a kid supposed to have that kind of context? I came back to life. But then again, for a short time, I had a connection. I don't know why. I don't know how. But it was there. Just until I get settled down enough and deal with life on life's terms and then maybe call out for help when I was a kid. But as an adult, I had to deal with it on adult terms. I don't know if I'm going to be worthy enough to go back to heaven or not. I hope so. I want to be reunited with my family, but right now I'm not chasing it. After losing family throughout my life and dealing with pain and death and grief, not to mention a real dislike towards death, the process, and the people who have to do it. I'm not talking about the moral realm. I'm talking about the beyond realm, the escort service. How am I supposed to deal with the angels on that one? How am I supposed to be dealing with Jesus and God if I got this nasty thing going through me on this one? It would have been nice if I actually had a vision, like everyone else said. I got a vision from God. I heard voices from God. It would have been nice if I actually had a nice conversation. I made a deep conversation, either with Jesus, God, or both, having a party line, and saying, "Guys, set me straight, please." I mean, it would be nice to be set straight on that, to understand the deeper meanings of it, of death processing and believing in a Son that's going to offer me a resurrection at this point. If I follow Him and I try to do the best I can from what He's saying, it's simple instructions, but me being complicated like everybody else is, but me just being complicated enough as it is, I got an ego issue. I got fear, anger issues. I've got confusion issues. But also I got the multiple choice happening. Do I do this or do I not choose to do this or not do it? You know? Is this worthwhile or not? Do I have to start going through the process at this point or try to go for a gut feeling or do I just go for something because I don't know what the hell I'm doing? And that's how I'm looking at things right now. Am I doing this right? Because now I got to question everything else. Am I going to be worthy of the life in the after? I had to question my actions and thought patterns. So here I am questioning. I'm questioning people trying to question their own values, especially when the holiday season offers Easter eggs and chocolate bunnies or chocolate eggs and grass and baskets. Not to mention trees with stars or angels on them or whatever kind of toppings they put, or not even at all. Of how trees are lighted up or how they're decorated and how they used to have presents laid below them. When Christ was born in a manger, he had three rabbis, three travelers coming to him with gifts. Very expensive ones, too. Gold, myrrh, spice, minerals that'll be useful for trading and stuff. Frankincense and myrrh. gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And those spicings were not cheap. They're the most expensive things to pay tribute to an icon of belief, to a presence that will be changing their world in over 30 plus years. Freaking out people down the road of the gifts of God that are presented in a form or a fashion. Maybe an idea or a belief or a thought. It scared the hell out of people to enough where this guy gets murdered. And he's okay with it, and so is God. That's why Jesus was sent to go through this stuff, to relate to us. Try to see us humans as we are. Back then. If he ever saw what we are becoming or have become right now as it is, would he be able to deal with this kind of stuff we've got over 2,000, over 2 millenniums afterwards? Because I'm not quite so sure. It's scary enough right now dealing with the world we got right now as it is. How would I be able to relate to a supernatural being of this kind of situation is what we've got going on? Unless he's already been walking the world already without us realizing it. Different forms, different functions. Seeing what we're going through. Would he be choosing to use public or social media to get through? Maybe through a proxy, maybe? I have a lot of people keep swearing that they're the messengers of God, and we should worship them, and we should listen to them because they are holy. Yeah, I've heard it. I just don't happen to follow the line of their logic. I'm not holy. Nowhere near it. I'm one screwed up human being. That's what I am. I've got my own will that screwed things up left and right. I still have to make amends for. I'm not trying to push my will or my thought patterns down people's throat. Like I've seen other people proselytize for it. They want out of you because they want to give you their message. But you have to pay them to get it. I talk. I'm not looking for a handout. See if I'm going to be needing help. That's really needing it and not just saying, well, I need your help because I need my ego built up and boosted and I need the numbers and I need this. What do I need? I need to have more patience and calm and tolerance for my dog. She's getting older. She's getting closer to that time. Scaring the hell out of me, and I'm dealing with the emotional aspect of it. I'm dealing with the emotional aspect of having families lost throughout my lifetime. Families, friends, either by geographic or by death itself. And I have to deal with the loss on a constant basis. I have to deal with the triggers left and right. I deal with what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with the world going insane with war. People threatening, we're not going to have war, but we're going to have war. We're just not going to have a bloody war. We're going to have a war of tariffs. We're going to have a war of freedom, of liberty, of constitutions, of people's wills, and everything else. We're having radicalized universe here, and I don't even know how the hell to deal with it. It's bad enough I'm dealing with a dog that I love passionately, knowing that eventually she's going to be losing life, and I'm going to be all alone. And I have to struggle with that. And it gets harder and harder to deal with holidays when I lose meanings of the holiday slowly evaporating. She's snoring up a storm. You ought to hear her when she's on the ground. But she, just like I am, trying to take each day at a time, and some days we're not doing so well, and other days we are. But she don't celebrate human holidays. She wouldn't know anything about it. She only knows that if I'm here with her, she's all right. Well, to a point anyway. I see the extremities of the holiday. I see the external aspects of it. I see ashes behind me. Memorial. I am in between like Good Friday and Easter. I've been living that way ever since I came out of it. It still scares the hell out of me. I'm still torn apart and saddened by it. Some days, if I'm not triggered, I can deal with it. But if I'm triggered, I'm an emotional wreck and I'm a sob case. Praying and pleading. Forgive me for going through this, God. And forgive the other poor schmucks that I still have an issue with. Maybe call it a confession. I try not to hold out much animosity these days because it's just not worth it. And one of the biggest ones I had, was dealing with a biological sperm donor named John Elmer Weaver. Dropped his middle name before I was born because he couldn't stand the initials Jew. Yeah, Jew. So I don't know, I may be biologically Jewish, but not even realizing it. I'm a Christian of faith, of belief, of training. That's how I am and how I feel. But if I am part Jewish, okay, so be it. All I know is it's part biologic and it's also part faith. I'm not converted. I hadn't had my blood tested for those kind of markers, if there are anything. Such a thing as being Jewish. Just not so much. I am here just to say to myself, I'm alive, I exist, and what the hell am I doing this for in the first place? I'll have religious folks try to debate whether or not it's suitable or not to have our forms of celebration challenged in any way, shape, or form. The simplicity of the holiday we got right now is basically in the Christian faith is this was the day that Christ was brought up to Pilate to be judged, to be whipped, to have the crown of thorns put on his head, led through a procession of people spitting and yelling and cursing and laughing at him, while his followers were way behind, afraid of the public outcry, but crying their eyeballs out because they're seeing a person that they gave their lives and souls in tribute. They would have died for him. People probably would have thought that would have been a cultist for Christianity, and yeah, it's still considered a cult. But at least this one tells us, be good to each other. Love each other as we possibly can. Forgive them as we want to be forgiven. Do good whatever you can. Simple human compassion and empathy. Towards anything and everything that matters to us. Including two dogs that are fussy. She'll go back in the bedroom, wonder how come I'm not in there, and she'll be yelling at me. But for right now, I'll take a few moments of joy with her. Maybe I'm too much of a fool and idiot with Christ or God, I don't know. But I think love is a hell of a lot better than trying to hate each other and trying to say that Christ wanted us to be militant. He wanted us to be this way. No, you had fools and idiots and you had ignorance. You had ego and pride driving everybody crazy. They want. It's not what God or Christ wanted. In my book, anyway. So even if I happen to celebrate a holiday with the externals on it, I don't forget the internals. Christ was born, maybe with purpose. Maybe to teach us all a lesson or two about human compassion, human kindness, forgiveness, empathy. Hard as it may be at a lot of occasions since we've given ourselves to hatred and anger and everything else. I know I'm a fool, I'm an idiot. It goes without saying. I keep saying that to myself. But God never created a fool and idiot. I had to recreate that image a little bit. But God still sees me as his child, like he sees all of his children. What I believe in is what I have faith in. Maybe some people will be asking me to trade that in because of their wants and needs. I'm going to say on that one. I grew up the way I am. I live with what I am. Live with what I've got. And I deal with compassion. And I'm dealing with a dog who's lost her way back into the bedroom again. She wants to spin herself around. And she's motivated to get back in. But she'll find her way. Uses her nose. We also have a nose. It's not just detecting olfactory smells. It's not detecting any weird-ass hints in the air of different things exuding odors and stuff. No. We have our own internal nose. We put to the grindstone. We follow the path. That's how I think and feel. So if I'm blathering like a full an idiot, maybe I am a full an idiot. That's okay. I'm already a level of wokeism anyway. Lived hard. What the hell? They'll call me whatever they think I am. What does God call me? Hey kid. How you doing? I think Christ would say, you're my acolyte. You're my follower. I said, I'm just a full an idiot. I'm struggling. That's all I know. And if I'm doubting Thomas or doubting John right now, but the struggles I have are real inside. And I still need to work on all the empathy I can get my hands on. Many teachers to teach me. I have to be paying attention in class. As a younger man, I wouldn't be paying attention as much. Now as an older fart, I pay attention. Not because I'm afraid of death. I've already been through it once before. I don't like going through it. I've also been in near death, and it's still not fun. But I happen to deal just with a master trying to tell me what's going on. I hope he likes questions, and I hope he likes conversations, deep-ended conversations. I don't know how to deal with it, but he'll deal with it. It kind of makes me feel, I guess, okay with it. Anyway. Passover was last night. Today is Good Friday. Saturday's coming up, and then Sunday's the big day. So I got to get these things posted whenever I can, if the system allow me to post. If not, delayed, always delayed, day late and a dollar short, unfortunately. Kind of sucks that way, That this is what I am, and this is what's going on. And if I'm not doing it the way God wants me to do it, then I really got to get up my dead ass and get it done. Or just pray for forgiveness and just keep struggling, because that's the only thing I know how to do is struggle. That being said, guys. That being said.